Fear Not, Episode 37. Hi, I'm Billy Atwell, and I believe that consistently facing your fears is the only way to realize your truest self and to make those confident choices that will help you to obtain your deepest held hopes and dreams. I have faith that this podcast series will show you that you are not alone, that it will strengthen you and give you courage to face your fears, and that it will help you to permanently cross over into a life of living beyond your fears. Join me on this journey as we listen and learn from others as they share their experiences in facing and overcoming their own fears. Hey everybody, today you and I are going to be joined by Mike Glass. Hi Mike, how you doing today?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Yeah, are you ready to fear not today?
I sure am.
Mike has been involved in nonprofit fiscal and administrative management and resource development for the past 46 years. He has provided expert professional leadership as an independent contractor on behalf of educational institutions, community-based organizations, private foundations, statewide civic organizations, national multi-service agencies, and international professional associations. Mike has taught full-time at Bradley University, lectured, and has lent his expertise in the development of national nonprofit organization manuals. He has served as a technical consultant for the White House Council on Aging and in like capacities for the Ford Foundation, United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, and numerous municipal and statewide government agencies and commissions. Mike, can you take a few seconds to fill in the gaps and maybe give us a brief glimpse of your personal life as well?
Sure. As far as filling in the gaps are concerned, you pretty well broadly defined what I've been doing over almost 5 decades of work in the nonprofit field. What it comes down to is fiscal and administrative management consultancy, as well as working with nonprofits in strengthening their boards of directors, trustees, to better have those organizations do the work that they have their mission as far as doing.
Mike, would you share with us also one of the biggest fears that you've had to face?
Well, the biggest fear that I've had to face came about 7 years ago. I was just going along minding my own business, and I went in for an annual physical with my general practitioner, whom I have known for over 40 years. We've sort of grown up together. And we went through the whole process, and then this was in October of 2009. And then he, as we normally do, we chatted for a while, and he said, you know, you're really very healthy, but you're so healthy that I'm a little concerned about your white count, and I want you to go see another doctor. Ultimately, what happened was, after a month of tests, I was diagnosed with multiple myeloma, which is a form of cancer of the blood, similar to, but thank the Lord not, leukemia. So that was, I would imagine, the biggest fear that I have had to confront. And if you'd like, we can talk about what has happened subsequently in the last 7 years.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind sharing with us what you did to overcome that fear, and I would imagine continuously dealing with that fear.
Well, it's interesting, and thanks also, Billy, for allowing me to come on and actually directly talking about multiple myeloma, because it's not something that is out there and that people know about as they do cancer or leukemia or other kinds of cancers. Multiple myeloma, as I said, is a cancer of the blood. There is no cure, and there is no such thing being able to do away with it as you do if you have you go in for chemo and then you go in for radiation and so forth. The fact is, if you take, for example, a glass of water and spill it out, and you think that the glass is empty, well, it really isn't. There's a film that's still there that ultimately forms at the bottom. And that's how it was explained to me as far as multiple myeloma is concerned. It's always there. So I had to confront that as a part of the fear in the fact that there was any kind of, and that I would always have it with me. I started out actually by thinking about that, trying to figure out why this happened to me. And what I came up was to find out from the doctors that I met with, the oncologist, hematologist who became a part of my team, was that it's the luck of the draw. There is nothing with regards to multiple myeloma that has to do with a person's history or their makeup. It is something that just happens to go and happens to take place within your blood scheme and your DNA. So once I knew that, and once I knew that we were going to be able to develop a plan, then it was up to me to take and work with the doctors as far as that plan was concerned. And I guess overcoming fear, the fear is there. Let me say this: the fear is there every day because, people, if you say you have cancer, that's what they call the big C, and that's always a fear that people have. But I get up every morning knowing that I have that, but I also know that there are medications and there are ways in which to combat what I have. And I've been out now 7 years from that diagnosis and continue to do the things that I need to do physically and as well as professionally. And so pretty much what I try to do is weigh that fear that is always there with everyday life.
Mike, I'm sure you've come across a lot of material and resources that have helped you to face your fear, not only with the cancer that you're dealing with, but with just the fear of it in itself. Would you mind sharing some of those with us today?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm not a firm believer. I don't, as far as going online, and I know some people feel in this day and age that you can do that and you can educate yourself and you can get all kinds of information. I guess I'll be 70 in July, and I guess I'm somewhat of a dinosaur on that respect. As far as going online and learning this and learning that, what I decided immediately when I was diagnosed was that I was going to listen to the physicians that I was putting together as a team and listen to what they had to say because they were dealing specifically with me. So as far as going forward is concerned, I meet with them on a regular basis. I have a regimen that I do. I do look up and I do read about some of the drugs that I'm specifically taking because they have a specific impact upon me, so I know that. But I do rely on my team of physicians, which is my GP and my oncologist, hematologist, and also the person who was the head of my stem cell transplant process that I did go through at the time, at the very beginning. So that's how I reach out. That's what I usually do as far as educating myself going forward. Of course, if it's in the newspaper or something like that, I read about myeloma when it comes up. But I really do talk with people that are working with me on my specific issue, my specific case, and that way I know that I'm focusing on where I'm at and not just in general what's going on.
Are you ready for the speed round?
Sure, go ahead.
What individual that's either fiction or real, Mike, has made the most impact on your life?
Well, I would say that the individual that's made a real impact has been up to this point, has been my oncologist, hematologist, because I think the man is, of course, my Albert Schweitzer. He's brilliant. And I've put my entire life in his hands. So as far as impact is concerned from that standpoint, a physical standpoint, I would say he is the person that, I owe myself, my existence to.
And if you could instantly change one thing in the world, what would that be?
Not have multiple myeloma.
What's your biggest weakness?
Probably the fact that I, at different times, I will let that fear enter into my thinking, and so then I have to stop and I have to go back and I have to recalibrate, if you will, where I'm at and what I'm doing.
What's your biggest strength?
Being able to recalibrate and be able to go on and know that I'm doing the best that I possibly can with what I've got all the way around, physically as well as mentally on it, and being able to continue to focus on where I want to be and what I want to do.
Do you have a favorite sound?
I like classical music.
Mike, if someone wants to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Sure. It's mglass990@gmail.com.
And what parting advice would you like to leave us with today, Mike?
That you can be put low with regards to having something really fearful, and still you can have the strength and the fortitude to go on, as long as you can put your mind in the right frame that what you are doing with your life is worthwhile, and that it makes all the difference. And so this is the most important thing. I would also like to say that what I've learned over the last 7 years is that life is precious, and that even if you hear somebody who has passed away at 95 and someone says, well, they lived a full life, the fact of the matter is, what I've learned, at least in what's happened to me, is I'll bet you that if they could have lived another 10 years, they would have loved to do it. So there is no such thing as a full life as far as I'm concerned. Life is precious, and every day matters.
Mike, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today and for sharing your story. This has been it was really cool of you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me today. And remember, you cannot achieve everything, but you do have the God-given ability to achieve anything. So stay focused, out of fear, and keep on keeping on. Until next time, be well and peaceful. For more information on today's episode and guest, or for resources that will assist you in overcoming your fears, visit livingbeyondyourfears.com. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, where 3 times a week we move to a life beyond our fears.